and Madge are stalwarts of Ramsay Street.
She had a violently bad reaction to her last COVID shot, and poor love, she's really down to the count.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I'm starting to believe that a lot of what they're saying is true, and I'm a very angry man.
Well, g'day folks, how are you going today? I hope you've had a fairly good time of it. I'm just trying to get a bit of a gauge on what sort of a signal I've got here at the moment. Pardon me not looking at you. Oh, there you are. I am looking at you. I've got that I've got that overlay up. Hang on, give me a second. There you go. So I'm just trying to see whether or not we've got much by way of signal grab at the moment. Where I'm sitting is well, should be okay. It says I'm getting reasonably good signal, but I did a speed test and it looked really bad. So tell me what it's like in the comments, folks, if you want to let me know. What's going on? Well, Michelle Lee is the latest and greatest update we're currently speaking about, I guess. And Michelle, at this present juncture, is a little under 20 nautical miles off the coast of Queensland. I'm just going to try and bring up the right screen for you. So this is her current position, if you like. And if we zoom in and drag that down, it'll give us her exact position. She's currently doing just under 2 knots. And if I zoom out from here, you will be able to see the sort of distance that she is from Port Douglas, Palm Cove down the bottom there, and Cairns is, well, a little further south, as you can see. Now, it looks like a long distance there, but it's only about 20 nautical miles. I've just seen a video that Michelle has uploaded off the boat. So she's been able to get some charge into her phone, obviously off the solar chargers. She's now within the mobile phone network. So she's uploaded to her Facebook page. She's expecting 2 more tides, and I guess that means 1 more sleep before she hits the dirt. At the moment, it looks like she is paddling for Port Douglas. And I would expect an arrival sometime there tomorrow, probably in the afternoon, but who knows. Her support team have been absolutely brilliant on this journey to date. Unfortunately, as soon as we get to Cairns, there seems to be a new support team and no information's coming out of them whatsoever. So it's proving a little bit difficult to try and keep track. And I know they're all very excited about her, and you know, there's media deals in place and all sorts of stuff. But getting any information out of them is proving to be very difficult. Although they are staying at a very nice pub in Cairns, so I'm sure they're not sweating too much while they await Michelle's arrival. But that's what it looks like at the moment, folks. My guess will be tomorrow at Port Douglas. At this stage seems to be where she's aiming for. It has been chopping and changing between Cairns, Port Douglas, Cairns, Port Douglas. I would have thought Palm Cove is probably closer than Port Douglas, but Palm Cove apparently has its own issues when it comes to landing. She can't actually just roll up to the beach, I don't think, in this rowboat. So that could be part of the problem with that. But at any rate, that's Michelle's current progress. And I can tell you, beautiful part of the world today. We thought we'd do a little bit of a recce and have a look at Port Douglas to see where she may well come in. So we found the marina up there. There's some very beautiful homes. In fact, one of my former colleagues has got a home up there. In fact, probably quite a few of my former colleagues have got homes up there. But Kyle recently bought a house in Port Douglas. No, I don't know the address. I didn't call past. He probably wouldn't have let me in if I had have. We did also do a little bit of a cruise today. Well, a drive. We drove up to the Daintree. It sounds like it's a mile or 2 to go. It's not. It was really only about an hour and a half up the road. And we went to Daintree Village initially and had a little bit of a look around there. Have to say, driving along the Australian coastline is absolutely spectacular north of Cairns. It is unbelievable. Mossman, what a beautiful place. Made me start wondering what it is that I could do, you know, in far north Queensland that would give me, I'd be able to work up here. There is nothing, absolutely nothing. Some of the places where I'd like to live are simply cane fields and mountains and rainforest. absolutely stunning. And rainforest right down to the beach, wallabies on the beach, all sorts of crocodiles on the beach. In fact, I won't be shy. I will show you. We came across a crocodile today. Oh, okay. Well, we came across a real one too. In fact, we came across a couple of them. That one was just basking quite nicely. The other one was swimming along the boat beside us. Must say, folks, thank you to Kerry and her partner Steve, who put us on to this Daintree River cruise. Thank you very much. They bought us a couple of tickets on it, and we didn't realise that it was two cruises, if you like, for the price of one. Tickets are $35 each, if you like, for adults. You can take your dog on there if the dog is well behaved. I guess if it's not, they just hang it over the side. But Chile was very well behaved. We did the first cruise out of Daintree Village and had a look at some of the rainforest, which is truly spectacular, and that's where we saw those crocodiles that I mentioned. And then there is another one further back down towards the Daintree ferry, and we jumped on that and had a go there too. Didn't see any crocs, unfortunately, but certainly some amazing rainforest. Amazing rainforest. There is nothing more relaxing, I have to say, and these folks who told us to go and do this, gave us the tickets to go and do this, said you really must, you'll love it, it'll be very relaxing. Now, Laura is not generally the kind of person that relaxes on boats, but she loved it, remarked about it so much that she was very keen to go for the second ride. So it was beautiful, beautiful, and wow, rainforest, thick. I've never seen bush so thick, and I guess I've been to subtropical areas before. Mount Tamborine is a rainforest area. That's about the only thing I could compare what we're seeing up here, and even then, Mount Tamborine is on a very, very small scale. So truly amazing. Thank you again to those folks who shouted us tickets today to go up and have a look at that. And a beautiful drive. I'm glad we did it. It seems stupid to come all the way to far north Queensland and not go as far as you can in a car that's not four-wheel drive. So that's pretty much what we tried to do today. A bit of a pity we can't get up to Cooktown. I'd probably try and give that a crack, but I don't think time's going to allow for that to happen. I guess the other big news of the day is what's going on in America. Now, I've been in the car driving most of the day. I have had a couple of updates from folks. Good afternoon to the Galactic Larrikins, or good evening to the Galactic Larrikins. Thank you, Rob, who gave me a call earlier in the day and gave me a bit of a heads up of what's going on. And Donald Trump is in America. He is in New York, and will be fronting up today for the indictment. Can I tell you, driving up here the other day, when did we leave? Sunday. So we were listening. This is for my radio friends, all right? My colleagues. I was listening to the Southern Cross Oz stereo feed on the Hit Radio Network. I guess most of us know who that network is. Now, I was listening continuously up the Queensland coast, basically from 3 o'clock in the morning, Sunday morning, until 5 o'clock Sunday night. And I must say, the newsreader who came on in the afternoons may need a little bit of training. Turns out she was talking about about Donald Trump's indictment, but she didn't call it an indictment. She called it an indictment, and he had been indicted. This is a national newsreader on a major, in fact, the largest radio network in Australia, networked right throughout, well, central and southern Queensland, and I guess all over the country. She'd be reading bulletins for everywhere. Donald Trump wasn't indicted. He was indicted. And he was going to face indictment. I nearly drove off the road laughing. Shouldn't. It's just sad that that's the quality of journalist we're putting out today. They can't read. They don't know how to say a word. They just make it up as they go along. Mind you, bloody funny. Donald Trump has been indicted today. He'll face indictment tomorrow. Bugger me. Anyway, sad. Folks, a lot of folks are trying to say, hey, let's catch up in Cairns while we're in Cairns. I would love to catch up. the problem is I don't know anywhere in Cairns to say, well, why don't we go and catch up there? If there's a coffee shop somewhere, or if there's a park or whatever. So I'm going to go out tonight, go for a drive, going to find somewhere, I don't know, probably along the beach somewhere, because I like the beach and I don't mind the heat. We might make it the Cairns Marina. I don't know if there's a coffee shop there. I will try and find somewhere tonight, and then we'll set up a time for tomorrow to try and catch up. And I'll either put a live up saying that tonight, or I'll do something first thing in the morning to just say, here's where I'll be and here's the time I'll be there. If anybody else wants to be there at that time, love to see you. And I know that there is a few folks who want to catch up further south of us. I think I told you yesterday, we've had an offer to jump on a private boat and go for a cruise through the Hinchinbrook Channel. What we saw of Hinchinbrook on the way up is just amazing. So yeah, wild. Oh, Melissa, you thought I'd disappeared. Well, Sunflower may well have thought I've disappeared too. Yes, Voice of Freedom on YouTube and the Nun2K channel on YouTube are both suspended at the moment. I think I get them back about Thursday or maybe Friday. I'll get those two channels back up. But yes, I'm running on Rumble, although was running on Project Matilda. It seems to have had a bit of a conniption for this show. I'll have to go in and have a bit of a look and see what I did wrong there. But I will come back on later on tonight and let you know about tomorrow. If you're at all interested in catching up, I'll find a coffee shop somewhere and or somewhere we can have lunch or whatever. And we'll sit down, have a chat, a bit of a catch up. I'm really keen to hear your stories. There are so many wonderful people who've made contact from around Cairns and far north Queensland. I'm sorry we couldn't catch up with you on the way through. We're trying to get up here to beat Michelle. As it turns out, we didn't have to rush. But, if we didn't do it this way, she would have been here. And, we didn't want to miss that. So, yeah, I will do everything I can to try and catch up. Laura has discovered that the Arms and Armour Museum allows us to go shooting World War II rimfire rifles, 303s, 30-06s, 223s, 792s. It's going to be a interesting day, I think, if we manage to get out there. I don't know that we will. It's a bit expensive, I think, but we'll see what happens. Didn't know my daughter was quite into shooting. The other thing I've discovered is she has a desperate love for cassowaries. We haven't seen one yet, and she doesn't want to see one up close, but there is something about the prehistoric bird murdering you with its own head that she finds quite appealing. I just want to stay away from them, personally. Magnificent birds, but, don't want to be down there. Melissa, how long did I get them taken down for? They were dumped for 7 days. I've got a strike against both those channels. That means if I get another strike, they'll go down for 2 weeks and won't be able to broadcast on those two channels for 2 weeks. I think the strike came for last Friday Night Free for All, or it might have been the Sunshine Coast show, actually, now that I think about it. Sunshine Coast show breached me on medical truth. They call it misinformation. We call it truth, but YouTube are never going to change that. And if you have a look at their terms and conditions, they have changed their terms and conditions now so that anything that doesn't agree with the mainstream media or the World Health Organization mantra is automatically disinformation. So I've got no hope on YouTube. Really only keeping it there for folks who know that's where they can find me. But Rumble, folks, is where you should be going. We're not going to get deplatformed off there because, well, shit, we're not making any money out of it. In fact, somebody said to me the other day, oh, you and Cossack, you're making a fortune off Rumble. I'm happy to show you the Rumble earnings, folks. There are no Rumble earnings. That's just how good it is. I think in the whole time that I've had a Rumble channel up, it's made like $4.80. But we're not doing this to make money out of the channel. That's beside the point. If I was doing that, I'd be worried that Nun2K was turned off at YouTube because it has the most amount of subscribers. That's not the point. That's not the issue, and certainly not the goal. The goal is to make sure that you get the information that's required. And right now, the information seems to be that out of New York, Donald Trump is going to face indictment in, I think, around about 6 hours, 5-6 hours. and he will front up. There will not be cameras allowed in the courtroom, and he will not be put in handcuffs. He will not be perp walked in front of all the assembled media, and it will be interesting to see what's happened. Speaking of interesting, if they can indict a former US president for paying off women he supposedly had affairs with, where do you think Bill Clinton sits with all of that? Swings and roundabouts, folks. Swings and roundabouts. And I think you might find Bill Clinton will be shitting rather solid gold bricks at this point, because he has significant issues in that regard to face. He has been paying women off to keep quiet about his sexual advances since he was Arkansas governor, and potentially prior to that. So there is evidence dating back certainly as far as his Little Rock days, and they, well, didn't slow down through his presidential years. Monica Lewinsky is a classic example of that, but there are others. And in fact, surrounding the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, well, what's that going to do? When you think about it, it's not going to do much. If you go and see, if they can get a conviction against Trump now, a felony conviction against Trump on these trumped up charges that are, I think, about 5 years out of date to actually be charges. They are misdemeanor charges at best, and this New York DA has decided to ramp them up to felony charges. Well, I don't, just not going to work out for them quite the way they think it's going to work out. Trump isn't going to lose that case. However, the precedent will have been set. Now, they want to get Trump on these felony charges because then he can't run in 2024. And they would be very happy not to have him as an opponent in 2024. That's not going to happen. Trump will run. They're not going to get him on this indictment, as our Southern Cross Oz Stereo weekend newsreader likes to call it. They are going to try very hard, but all they are going to do is open up a can of worms on every former president. Start with Obama and work backwards. Obama, not that there's any great salaciousness in his background. We don't know that he and Michael have, shared each other around or whatever it is that they do. We do know that there were children seen coming out of the White House very, very late at night. A lot of children coming from deep underneath, but that's a whole other story during the Obama's reign. Prior to that, of course, there was the Bushes, and then there were the Clintons. And I think Bill and Hillary's clackers will be snapping shut faster than a croc's jaws at the moment. It would be very difficult. Voice of Freedom is, Voice of Freedom. So if you're looking for a YouTube channel where you can see me on, see how it's spelled here? Thanks, Crunchy. Voice of Freedom. Type that into your YouTube channel and you will find Voice Freedom, if you like, in there. It is the only YouTube channel still running, I think, at the moment. I've got 6 more in the backup, but I just wonder whether or not it's worthwhile. There's no real reason to continue with them. They are just going to be silly. Hello, Sunflower. Where can you watch John Wilson's video? John Wilson posted it up himself on Facebook today, and I think if you also go into YouTube, you'll find that he's Rumble rather. You'll find that it's uploaded there. Now, let me just see. I do believe the old pirate sent me an email today that quite probably has a link for it. Let me just see if I can find it. And right, I don't know what's going on, but I don't seem to be seeing it right now. Maybe I need to change mailboxes. Let me try all mailboxes, and we'll see if we can find him there. So thank you to everybody who has replied to us for feedback on the log of claims. Can I just put that out there? No, he hasn't sent me the link, so I can't share that. Everybody, I'm looking at an email box full of replies and suggestions on maybe potentially different wording or other things that could be added, maybe amendments made. So if that's you, if you haven't already had a bit of a look and judge the log of claims for yourself, then please go to vofhq.com, download it. It's right there on the front page. Have a look at it. Really think about what it says. Discuss it amongst yourselves. If you've got friends and family who are of a like mind, then print a copy out, give it to them, invite them over for a barbie or a beer and have a talk about it. Is there anything else in there that should be added? Is there some modification to the language that's in there that should be made? Should some of those points be amended? Or are you happy to sign it just the way it is? We're looking for feedback, locfeedback@vofhq.com. If you have it, we would love to hear it. And I know John is endeavouring to reply to everybody that's sending feedback through at the moment. So it's a pretty big job for an old bloke who's typing like that. So bear that in mind. John will get back to you. He will make a reply at some point. But he's a bit of a slow typer, so give him some time with that. I believe that he did have a very successful day day before, at the German club on the Gold Coast. Now, I think I may have said it was a midday start. It was a 10:30 start. If you went along on my thing, you probably missed it, so I apologise. But it was filmed. I think Rubes may have filmed it, and it's been put up either through John's Facebook page or John's Rumble channel. So if you do a little bit of searching there, you'll find it. It was pretty quick, pretty concise. He basically pointed out essentially what the log of claims is all about, and then wanted to hear from you guys about it. And that is the way it has to be. We've got a starting point here, folks, but we need the rest of you to pick it up and run the rest of the race. We can only carry it so far. So please go to vofhq.com and download the log of claims if you haven't seen it yet, if you don't know anything about it. Please tell your friends to go there and download it. Please ask them to consider it and let them know their thoughts on it so you can pass on to us or bring them into one of our lives. We'd love to do that too. I am trying to organise a couple of interesting lives coming up this week. I know we seem to be chasing around far north Queensland trying to find Michelle Lee. Pretty confident we'll nail her at some stage tomorrow. That's a really poor choice of words. Pretty confident we will find her tomorrow, and whether we get a word with her or not, who knows, but we'll try and be there for her arrival. I've figured out how to stream off a phone, so we should be able to get something happening live as she comes to terra firma again, at any rate. Whether or not we get close, I don't hold high hopes at this stage, given the support crew around her. But anyway, it's only 2,000 kilometres. It's been a beautiful drive, and just as well we don't mind driving. Hey, thank you to everybody who is making our time up here just wonderful. I'm getting phone calls and emails from people. Looking forward to catching up, and I will go out right now. When I get off here, we'll go for a bit of a drive, and I will find somewhere in Cairns where we can hopefully make it easy for people to find a car park and wander over to a beach or to a coffee shop somewhere, and we'll have a cup of coffee, a bit of a catch up. Would love to spend part of my day with you, and as long as you've got part of your day to spend with me, we should be able to spend them together sometimes. That'd be more at some stage. That'd be bloody good. I won't hold you up tonight, folks. I don't have a great deal more knowledge. I'd just say keep your eye on what's happening in America at the moment. There is a lot of expectation, I think is the word, over this indictment. I'm sorry. The indictment of Donald Trump. He's been indicted. I'm sorry. I find that really hard to forgive out of a national radio network news bulletin. But, maybe I'm just pedantic and old and grey and got nothing better to whinge about. Probably the case. Anyway, folks, have a good night tonight. Go and have a look at Michelle's dot. She'll probably paddle for another, I would say, 2 hours. They will find a buoy for her to tie up to, because when the tide changes, it will suck her back miles. She can't afford that, so she'll tie up again tonight. She will row first thing again in the morning, I would say, depending on when the incoming tide is. Could be from 4 o'clock or whatever. Haven't looked at the tides. And then she will probably need to tie up again after the high tide is reached, and she'll sit out, if you like, the hot part of the day. And then from, I expect, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon tomorrow, without checking the tides, I expect she'll be powering her way towards Port Douglas at this stage. You can go to her Facebook page and see what she says herself, live off the deck of the Australian Maid, MAID. That is. Really looking forward to seeing Michelle get back onto Australian shores, and much love on her on her Facebook page at the moment from people all over the world who've been following her. So, she's certainly a very popular lady at the moment. We wish her all the best. Have yourself a great night, folks. I'll have a bit more intel tomorrow, because I'll sit in front of the computer rather than drive my way up into a rainforest. But we'll find a bit more about what's going on tomorrow morning, I'm sure, after Donald Trump's indictment, and whether or not the streets of New York will be run amok. And I know some of the more salubrious stores were boarding up their windows, thinking that Trump supporters were going to come along and smash them all. They seem to be confusing Trump supporters with Black Lives Matter and Antifa, but that's hardly surprising in New York, after all, isn't it?
You let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back.
Does anybody else want to stay?